Good evening, Rockdale County. How are we doing tonight? This is Larry Cox, your host of This Week from Rockdale, and it's great to be here this evening. And it's great to have those individuals who have decided to join me this evening. It's glad to see each and every one of you. I'm going to say hi to a few folks here in a minute, but first of all, what I would love to see happen is I would love to see you guys share and like the show so we can share this show. We can share the message that's going to go out, the opinions that this show puts out. And I would love to share the comments that you, the audience, puts out there because I can't do this show without you. And I greatly appreciate hearing your comments and feedback every week. And I just can't look forward, and I just can't wait. And I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with tonight and the comments that you make. They were very enlightening, and I enjoyed this past Sunday's comments and hope they're as lively and they're as insightful as they were this past Sunday. So let me say hello to a few folks here. We only have a few folks that have said hello. We have Dan Burks. We have Laura Skelton. We have Voices for Rockdale. That'll be Miss Corliss Turner. And we have George Kelichek. George is in Fayetteville, North Carolina this evening. He's visiting family. Hey, George, way up there in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Glad to have you listening to the show tonight when you're out of town. I appreciate that when people do that. And we do have several other people that are watching. That are just they're watching, not saying hello, but that's okay. We like we whatever how you want to watch. If you don't want to participate, then that's fine. Just listen to what we have to say, and we'll have a good old time here talking about some things. You know what I want to talk about this evening is I watched the BOC meeting this past Tuesday, and I just observed the arrogance of the commissioners. Just bragging about some of the things they've done. They brought the restoration storehouse person up, just bragging about all these accomplishments and what they've done over at that building. So it was just crazy. So this is what, I like to talk about the restoration storehouse for a little bit. I did not and do not agree with the restoration storehouse acquisition. That is ridiculous. Somebody mentioned they're not seeing the comments. If you're not seeing the comments, if you will go to the This Week from Rockdale page, you'll be able to see the comments. So just go to the This Week from Rockdale and watch from that page. And you can also do YouTube. You can do This Week from Rockdale and YouTube, and you should be able to see the comments. But you might not see the comments if you go to my personal page or if you go to Cox for Rockdale. So if you go to the This Week from Rockdale, or if you go to the YouTube, you'll be able to see the comments. So, but CJ Lester, you're here, and Cheryl Moulton is here. So nice to have y'all here. So, when the person from Restoration Storehouse came up there and began to talk about the things that they're doing, one of the things they were talking about was housing, helping with housing assistance. And then, and the chairman made sure to make a specific statement that they were going to need the federal government and the state to step up with this housing because it was very limited that the charities could do or that the county was going to be able to do. Now, with some of that CARES Act money or ARPA monies, they could have accomplished some things with helping with housing assistance, but they decided not to do that because the county decided they were going to, give raises and do other things with that money instead of doing things like helping citizens with their hard times that we're going through this, COVID and economic crisis that we're actually still going through an economic crisis. I was talking to somebody the other day and they said last year they had paid like two something for some Pop Tarts that their grandchild liked. They bought those same Pop Tarts for like $5.79 or something at the store this past week. So they were like $3 more than they were before. So that is just ridiculous. So, but they talked about everything that Restoration Storehouse was doing. Now you do know those charities that work through, or 501c3s that work through Restoration Storehouse. Every one of those charities could be doing the same thing from another location or separate locations where they all belong to each other as a unit and not be occupying or taking up space at Parker Road, where you could have still had the Board of Elections there, where we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a Board of Elections facility since they moved out of there. And there was no need to, because that was free. Just in the savings alone, hundreds of thousands of dollars in renting a facility for the Board of Elections when we had a free facility. And our problem with that building over there was maintenance. And it'll be the same problem with whatever building that we build anywhere in Rockdale County. It'll be the same problem with any building that this county occupies. It's preventative maintenance, because they've talked about their administration building. When they first got that, I would say it didn't need a lot of work, but they've done no preventive maintenance, and it's a disaster. They did no preventive maintenance to the courthouse. It's a disaster. The new courthouse and administration building they intend to build, they will do no maintenance to it. And in 10 to 15 years after its completion, it will have major issues because no maintenance will have been done to the building. So it's a big issue we have. That was part, they talked about the stuff they've done to the building and over there at Parker Road. Can I be frank, people? I don't want the building. We could go level that building tomorrow, and I'm fine with it. I want that piece of property that it sits on in the parking area that ties up. We still have 25 or 30 acres over there that we can do something with. But I would like to have that specific piece of property back also to go along with that additional property and that parking, so that we can do the things that we need to do with that property. We could find Restoration Storehouse another location. When they talk about the great things they do with education and Head Start was somewhere before it was at Restoration Storehouse, over there at 1400 Parker Road. So we could find Head Start an adequate location and relocate Head Start. I don't think the Head Start program cares where they are, as long as it's a suitable location, safe location, secure location that the kids can go to and get the education, beginnings of an education that they get at the Head Start program. So what when they're bragging about all the things that the Restoration Storehouse does, I'm all for charitable acts and charities doing things in the community. But what I'm not for is Charlotte, they got $3 million from Head Start. Yeah, but this thing about what I'm not for is I'm not for government abusing its power, putting people on that, and they talk, and even Sherry mentioned, well, what if it's $1 a month or whatever it is? You know what? And I'm telling you something right now. The citizens of Rockdale County deserve better than what this Board of Commission does for them. This Board of Commission is very disrespectful to the citizens of Rockdale County when they talk about this rhetoric. They had this party they had over there at Sunday. I'm going to show some pictures of them partying and such, getting along and bragging about all of them. All three of those individuals having birthdays on the same month. And I know there's some people that get offended when I call the Board of Commission clowns, but I'm just telling you guys, that's the way I look at it. I look at these individuals behaving in a clownish manner. And and I think anyone who doesn't want them in office or thinks they don't belong in office, I think they see the foolishness that these individuals do and behaving in a clownish manner. Uh, I don't think that I'm being disrespectful to the positions that they hold. I'm actually being honest about their character when I refer to them as clowns. I'm being honest about their character when I talk about the fact that they do the things they do because they want to line their pockets. If these individuals were sincere to the county and they had the best interest of the citizens of Rockdale County, then they would not have given away the Parker Road location for pennies. And that's exactly what they've done, giving it away for pennies. They would have leveraged the best piece of property in Rockdale County, and they would have known that it had value. But the taxpayers of Rockdale County, I think, originally paid 4 point something million dollars for that piece of property, and the administration at the time that purchased that property with the intent of building a courthouse and an admin building on those grounds. That was the intention when that property was originally purchased by the then chairman Wheeler. So, and I've had conversations with him about it, where he point blank says that was the intent of that property. They never intended for that building to stay there as a landmark or as an anchor facility there. Their intention was to eventually demo that building and actually build a courthouse and to build something there. They did not. Charlotte says Grit and Graces in Restoration Stores out and wasn't mentioned, but they did mention mental health. They mentioned the mental health things that the Grits and Gravy. I mean, well, not grits. I want to call it Grits and Gravy. Grits and Grace. I just can't help thinking of Grits and Gravy when I think of that place. So, it is what it is. But I think that that it's a shame that that these kind of things, people out of the goodness of their heart should do things with mental illness. All of you guys know something. Okay, I'm going to discuss some personal issues with you right now. You all know that I lost my sister a little over a week ago, and what many of you don't know about my sister is she suffered from mental illness. My sister struggled her whole life with mental illness. And a little over 20 years ago, she had an episode and it wasn't good. And she had found herself in a mental state where she had became homeless, and she was hiding from from the family. And my mother at the time had asked me if there's anything I thought I could do about the situation. So I had friends. I was still living in West Virginia at the time, and it was in the late 90s, right around turn 2000. And I had a lot of good friends there, in politics, and I had some people that were in the medical profession that helped guide me, and I became her guardian conservator. So over the last 20 some years, I personally looked after and managed my sister's mental health. And she passed away at 74 years old. But from the time she was 50 till then, when I helped her become stable and help manage her mental health situation, she had the best 20 some years of her life. I think a lot of times it's somebody caring, taking that extra step. We want government and we want agencies to do things for our loved ones. Sometimes it takes you. Sometimes it takes you helping and intervening in that person's life and giving them that individual that they can lean on and that they know is always there for them when things are good or things are bad. I was there for my sister when she needed me at that point, when I helped her get back on her feet, helped her get back to stability in that mental health. Uh, and when she passed away, I was in the room with her at that time too. So I do have compassion for mental health because it's something that I personally have dealt with as an individual. Um, and but this is the thing about it is sometimes it is a personal issue. It takes family and it takes us as individuals to help care for somebody. These organizations are great, but they're not the ones that are going to solve the problem. It's you and I that are going to personally be involved in someone's life that's going to make a difference. That's what's going to make a difference. If you personally get involved in someone's life and you intervene and you make that difference, that's what matters. So I know Doreen talks and spouts and does all this stuff, and I think she's got some family members that have issues that I think she deals with on a personal level, and that's fantastic, and I commend that. But I think the organizations that we need to train people and teach people and show people how they can care for their own family members and how they can start this and get them the help they need and to maintain the help they need. Because the problem with mental illness, and I'll tell you this from experience, personal experience, people with mental illnesses get to a certain point, they think they're okay, and they don't want to take their medicines anymore. They get to a point where they don't think they need their meds and they want to not. And this is 100% across the line with this, guys. 100% across the line. And then they stop taking their meds and they spiral down that path again to personal and self-destruction. So it's up to family members to know that, encourage them, and to just stay on top of it, to make sure that they're meditated, that they take their medication that keeps them from spiraling. But do we need a restoration storehouse to do that? No, we do not. We need people who care about their families and loved ones to be involved in their lives. That's what we need. We don't need to spend millions and millions of dollars for someone to tell us we need to love our family members and make sure they're okay and take care of them. That's not what we need. We may need some counseling services. We may need some services to direct us in the direction we need to go and tell us how we need to do certain things. But it ultimately comes down to people doing right by people. Just as I did right by my sister. We also need elected officials to do right by their constituency. We need elected officials to realize that they need to do the right thing for those individuals who voted to put them in office, and quit trying to always run a scam or run some sort of game across them. And that's what this Board of Commission reminds me of. They remind me of a bunch of con men at the carnival. And then I come back to my clown thing, right? And it's just, and this is where I get this clown thing is they remind me of the con men at the carnival who make you believe that these games that you're playing are on the up and up and they're not rigged. Well, they're all rigged. They're all rigged for you to lose. And then they occasionally let somebody think that they win, or they let somebody win and when there's a good crowd around so that they can sucker the rest of the crowd in and get all their money because they see that one person came away with a win. So what we've got to realize here, folks, is we're better than that because we deserve better than that. We deserve people to represent us that actually care about the community and care about what's going on. But I'll say it again, if these commissioners actually cared about this community, they would have not pulled the sham they did with Parker Road, pretending they can't do anything over there because of Restoration Storehouse. Because what we saw this past Tuesday at that meeting, to me, was embarrassing. It was ridiculous and it was appalling because they were trying to shame you and me, the citizens, for not agreeing with their nonsense. That is just ridiculous. It is totally ridiculous that they believe that they can shame us because they're the ones that are capitalizing on the fact they have meetings when people aren't available, and they know a lot of people don't actually see what's going on. They take advantage of the fact that information is hard to get, and then they spread misinformation and false information. As much of it is false as it is misinformation and misleading. The trying to make you believe that Restoration Storehouse does all these fantastic things. I guess I said this in the comments when they were talking Tuesday. Show me the financials where Restoration Storehouse actually saves Rockdale County millions of dollars. Show it to me. Just fact, hard line. Show it to me where they actually save us any money. They will not be able to actually show you that. And this is just fact. Rockdale County, we can continue going down this path with these disingenuous leaders, or we can decide to reset Rockdale and take it back. And we don't need these individuals running these games on us. We don't need these individuals rolling out things. When you hear that rolling out, that's nothing more than the con man. That's the clown from the carnival doing his con. That's all it is, guys. This commission, they run this county like they are the ringmasters of a carnival. It's exactly what they do. And we have to see that. So when I reference these individuals as clowns, it's not that I'm, trying to be some disrespectful or whatever. I'm actually literally showing you that they are treating you like the Ponzi's at the carnival. And if you really do get upset because I call these individuals who don't respect you, who don't care about you, and the only thing that they're doing is lining their pockets, you're going to continue voting for them. If it offends you that we say something negative about them or we tell the truth about them, then the honest to God fact is this, that you support them. If you defend them, then you support them. And that's what I believe. But I'll tell you, I will not support how these individuals treat you, the citizens of Rockdale County, because it's appalling. It's appalling that these individuals are treating you the way they are. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity because you pay the bills. Your hard-earned tax dollars actually allow them to do all the wasteful things they do. Your hard-earned tax dollars allow this Board of Commission to run around all over America, partying, eating, and drinking on your dime. Your hard-earned tax dollars allow this Board of Commission to throw themselves a big end-of-summer party at Costly Mill, the private park for the county commission. The private park that should not be a private park. That if someone else is elected chairman in 2024, will make that private park a public park. Just like that someone else, if they're elected chairman in 2024, the county commission will no longer be taking these trips out of state to. We probably won't even belong to any of these commissions because it's all just pat yourself on the back and pay money to learn how to manipulate and trick the citizens. Under administration that I would lead, it would be transparent and it would be open. Uh, we might bring some people into Rockdale County to do some training at the costly mill facility that we've purchased and that we own. But Rockdale County government will not be traveling out of state to do seminars if I would be elected chairman in Rockdale County. There would be a lot of things change if I would be elected chairman of Rockdale County. And trust me, they would change for the good for you, the citizens, because I believe you would start getting your money's worth finally out of this county government. We would make sure that people who worked for this county live in this county. We would make sure that the people who head up these departments wouldn't be exiting for the woods. Now I can't say that initially we might not have 100% turnover in all these positions, because we probably will, because I'm going to expect certain things to happen that would happen. Voices for Rockdale asks, do we actually own Costly Mill? If we did that AGGC loan stuff, it's just like they're the bank. They hold the title, and it's a lease purchase. And when we pay the loan off, we own it. It's just like you purchasing your house. You own your house, but the bank holds your title. It's the exact same thing. It's just the ACCG holds the title to the facilities, and we get the deed when we pay it off. So it's just they're the lender, and we're paying them, and when we pay it off, we get the deed. So we do own that. That is a purchase. So it's the same thing as purchasing from a bank. They get better interest rates. So I think that what we need to do, people moving forward, is we need to come together as one. We need to come together as a force in Rockdale County that these individuals have never seen before. If we do that as a voting force, and we come forward to do something different and new that we've never done before, then we can make such positive change in this county. And it won't be like the carnival anymore. It won't be like the rolling out something. That offends me. When I hear that we're rolling it out, that offends me, because I know the rollout means we're trying to trick you. We're trying to position this or put this out in its best light. And it's just like the PFA, the way they tricked people and manipulated the legislature. I don't really blame a lot of those legislators, because, they've got so much going on. They've got their own things. Sometimes they're 1-2 years into the job, and they're a learning process. But some of those legislators that are attorneys and that have been there for a dozen years, 10 years, they knew better. They really knew better. And but some of our local legislators, they were tricked. They were truly tricked by these individuals, because what I believe this commission has a very slick attorney that represents them. The attorney represents the board, does not represent the county attorney, does not represent the county. It represents those three commissioners. That's what that attorney does. And that attorney advises them, this one, on how to skate by the law. It's very apparent that that's what's going on. So one of the things that we need to do is elect another chairman so we can get rid of this county attorney. And as chairman of the commission, I will ask the attorney to advise us the right way, not how can we do these things and skate by the citizens, or just walk on the fence of being legal. And that's what this commission does all the time. That, they went into executive session because they were going to talk about a lawsuit this week. And not saying if I'm chairman, we're going to get into some lawsuits because I'm going to break some contracts. If I'm chairman, let me tell you what, if I'm chairman and we've not begun building that building and it's still, ground level or whatever, then we're not going to do it. I would rather pay a $10 million lawsuit than go in debt $500 million. Because realistically, it's not 110 million. I told you it's going to be 200 and some million dollars to actually build this thing with interest and everything that goes on. At the end of the day, this 250,000 square foot building, when we pay interest and pay the bonds, it is going to be a $500 million investment for the taxpayers of Rockdale County over a 40-year time period. I would rather pay $10 million, settle a lawsuit or whatever, than I would indebt this county for a $500 million over 40 years. I would rather spend our SPLOST funds on true infrastructure projects so that this county can have the infrastructure it needs for true economic growth. Not what these guys call housing economic growth. That's not economic growth. Housing is not economic growth. And it depends on what type of housing you're doing, if it is economic growth. But when we've got people wanting to build these giant communities where they're going to build to rent, Alex the other day on the show said these type of facilities, because he's in this business. Alex McDonald is in the business where they do these developments and do these things under his. If you do these large build to rent things during a good economy and then the economy sinks, those become the slums of tomorrow. What they're wanting to build in South Rockdale, that giant build to rent community, will become the slum of tomorrow. We don't want that in Rockdale County, and we don't need that in Rockdale County. And if we stay strong and we do the right things, we can reset Rockdale by voting out people that are in office right now. Tommy Lee, it's just theft at all costs, Larry. Tommy Lee, you're correct. It is theft at all costs. But we can stop this. We can stop it at the ballot box. And that's where I'm going to challenge you to help me. First thing we're going to do, is we're going to do this host. And next week, or this coming week, we'll be sending out some emails. And we'll be putting it on our pages and stuff, asking for people to volunteer on October the 8th so that we can go out and collect signatures. That'll be our beginning of collecting signatures. Then Voices of Rockdale has volunteered, and this is they're going to get people to volunteer to set a table up, the 150-foot distance you have to be from the early voting, and they are going to collect signatures during early voting to get the host legislation on the ballot next year. And then what I was told by the founder of Voices for Rockdale, they're going to do the same thing at every polling location on election day. They're going to have people there collecting those petitions. What we would like to do as far as the Rockdale voter and Voices for Rockdale, we've discussed this. We would love to, by the end of the year, by December 31st, we would love by that time period have the signatures that it requires to get that on the ballot so that we can begin a new project January 1. So that's our goal. And I think with each and every one of you helping us, we'll be able to accomplish that. And by getting this first thing done, that will start a tsunami. it will send a message to this county government that the citizens of Rockdale County are real, that they're sincere, and that they're ready to take this county back by resetting its government. Well, that's all that I'm going to talk about tonight. I am glad that we had an opportunity to clear the air about some things tonight. I'm so glad that the people that decided to tune in tonight tuned in, because you were the people that actually needed to hear this, because you're the ones that were the audience tonight. But share this show with your friends. Share it with your neighbors, because people need to know what's truly going on in Rockdale County. Because the chairman of Rockdale County that we have right now is a con artist. And he's just going to spin things and roll things out, just like they do in the carnival. So if you want to stop the carny from coming to town in 2024, we need to clean house and elect some new people. Thanks for joining me tonight. I can't wait till Sunday. And you join me again for another edition of This Week from Rockdale. Thanks and good evening.